I'm here in Aberystwyth at Llanert Colliery, one of the muses for public service broadcasting's Every Valley. Public service broadcasting released a new album this summer, but Every Valley just seems a lot closer to home.
It was a sad day at Ogilvy Colliery in the Rumney Valley on Friday when the pit finally closed after being in operation for 60 years. This means that all the pits at the top end of the Rumney Valley have now been closed down.
Being Welsh and grown up in South Wales, knowing the colourful industrial history of the area, this album's always fascinated me, but even more so to discover that its writers aren't even from Wales. Released in 2017, Every Valley is public service broadcasting's third studio album. The band's lead songwriter, J Willgoose, has described the album as a story of industrial decline in South Wales. I spoke with the musician about the band's music, their utilisation of the British Film Institute's historical archives, and why they wrote about the South Wales valleys in the first place.
Yeah, I think each album is a kind of reaction to or even against the one that came before it. So I think The Race for Space, having come out and done, surprisingly, amazingly well, really, for what it was, as an independent record, released totally independently. It was quite a staggering success from our point of view, staggeringly unexpected, certainly. So I think coming off the back of that and trying to work out what to do next, I was quite keen to kind of, come down from the stars and the heavens and all these lofty kind of extraterrestrial adventures and come down to something much more kind of everyday and work a day and almost in a way, mundane. Find something much more kind of down to earth. And I think that's where the idea of looking at mining as kind of a, very unglamorous but very important industry came from in general.
It would be no surprise to anyone that the mines are a very dangerous place, and Every Valley doesn't shy away from that, depicting the perilous conditions that the miners were forced to work in. Songs like The Pit transport us deep into the mine, but the closest we'll get today is, well, whatever that is.
As the cage dropped suddenly into darkness, the working morning had begun.
And then you had the kind of more pragmatic considerations of knowing that the BFI, who we worked with for many years now, they have an amazing repository of coal board films. They have all kinds of other coal mining related materials. So it was kind of, things started to point in that direction. And then I can't really put a finger on why it narrowed down to South Wales, but I think it would have been almost by kind of increasing the focus and narrowing that focus down, trying to make it more universal as a result of that, like making it more about one place so it could be more about every place, if that makes sense. And in the reading that I did, just seeing how much the strength of community in South Wales was really exceptional. I think a lot of places had those kind of community bonds, but there was all the kind of troubles and fractiousness in the East Midlands with the kind of the conflicts of the different unions. There was, England in general kind of much more politically made than stuff. And I think there's something about the geography of the area and the political history of the area that really drew me to it in terms of how it reacted to the kind of unprecedented assault on its industry that the 1980s represented.
Walking into Llanert Colliery in Aberystwyth today is a wildly different experience than the one you would have had a century ago. Closed down shortly after nationalisation in 1947 and followed by most other coal mines in Wales over the next 45 years for a variety of reasons, the colliery is, like others in South Wales, completely desolate. When recording the album in Ebbw Vale, Willgoose made sure that he spoke to the people who lived and worked in these mining towns. Along with the footage taken from the BFI, Willgoose told me that their first-hand experiences and stories really helped shape the album. For the band, though, they saw the musical side as just as, if not more, important.
We're firmly in the camp of, trying to entertain people and not kind of lecture them or be sort of some kind of hideous didactic teacher type thing. People don't have to take a test when they come and see us live or anything about what they've learned today. It's not really that kind of thing, but a lot of people do take a lot away from what we write about beyond the music, and there is that extra depth to it if people are interested. But first and foremost, it has to work on a musical level, and it has to be musically engaging and interesting to get people even remotely interested in what you're doing in the first place. But it's quite freeing as well. It's freeing for the imagination, and it's freeing for the ego. There's not there's not as much kind of personal ego involved in the music in general. I don't think, and I think that's partly because, you know, it's not. You know, if ever music was kind of written standing on the shoulders of giants or off the back of other people's efforts, I think our music is that for sure.